Hello, friends, and welcome to another lecture on electoral bond analysis. This is Professor Arvind Prasad. In this lecture, we will learn how to load data and build pivot tables. Well, in the last lecture, I talked about how to download the data of electoral bonds from the website of Election Commission of India and convert the data. It was available in a PDF format to convert that into an Excel table. The card of this is on the right hand top of your screen, and the reference to that is also in the link given below. So let's start. The first step is that in any desired folder that we want, in any desired location, we go and open a new Excel file. That's the first thing we need to do, and rename it as per your choice. So I write it as EB analysis, name it as EB analysis, and yes, and now open it. I would always keep insisting this, that once you have opened or done anything in a file, it's better to see it. Well, for obvious reasons. And now let's get back. Now we will download or upload the data of purchasers or donors in this Excel file. So how do we go about doing it? Well, the location of that file is here. It's in data and it's in cleaned, and I had discussed about how to make this file in the previous lecture. So how to load the data from this file to the file that we have just created now. So let's get back. Yeah, and fine. Now for the first thing you do is go to data, and from data you go to get data, and then you go to from file and from Excel workbook. And now go to your location where you have saved the data. So in my case, it's going to be in electoral bonds and in data and in ECI clean data and EV data cleaned, and click on import. Now you get this window. So if you recollect, we had created two tables. One was purchased and one was redemption. So for now, I will import only purchase. So for that, you click on purchase, go to load, and lo and behold, you're done. Now let's get ahead about just how we can make a pivot table out of this. So let's double click it. Now this is a query. It's a query table. This is known as a query table. So this query table is now in your file. Now this query table has headers like serial number, reference number, journal date, date of purchase, date of expiry, name of the purchaser, prefix, bond number, denomination, issue branch, issue teller, and status. Well, in status, that's something interesting we'll have to look into first. In status, you have two kinds of bonds. One is expired and one is paid. The clarification given is that the bonds that have been expired are the bonds which no political parties have redeemed. Well, these bonds, when purchased, had a value. Now, since no political party claimed these bonds, automatically this was transferred to the Prime Minister's fund. So only bonds that have the status paid are the bonds that have been redeemed by political parties. So we choose only bonds for which the status is paid. That's the first thing we do. And then afterwards, just have a cursory look at the data that you have, that is journal date. Click on that and go to transform and check whether the type of data is the one which is desired. Now journal date is date, date of purchase is also date, date of expiry is also date, and let's get back to denominations. Now denomination here is a whole number. It would be a good idea to select it as currency. Fine. And then what we can do now here is we can go back to home, and then we can say close, close and load. So a little amount of pre-processing now has been done. Now, as you can see here, previously it was 18,871 odd, 800 and I do not know. I think somewhere around 306 bonds were additional in this. Okay, the expired bonds. Now that has been reduced, and now we have a figure of 18,741. And well, after that, what we have to do is go to this, go to load to, and now what we do is we check this, that the radio button table is checked, and of course it has been loaded here also too. A table has been created in our workbook, and what we do is we check add this data to data model and click OK. So give this warning, ignore it and click OK. It will once again reload the data and spit it out in your worksheet. Now we are good to go. Now if you go to data, and if you go to manage data model, the table is loaded, and a better view can be had of all the tables loaded in a data model is in the diagram view. In the diagram view, we see that we have loaded the data on purchase. Now these are the features, that is serial number, reference number, journal date, date of purchase. Mind you, I have not removed any feature. Here itself, if I want to hide any feature, I can do it. I'll show that later on. But let's go ahead and making pivot table. Now an interesting pivot table would be, let's click on pivot table, table, and new worksheet, click OK. And it has two links to purchase here. One is purchase with, as you can see here, I'll just expand it off, or I'll just zoom it. So let's zoom it out. There we go. Let's zoom it. Okay, it only zooms the table. So fine. Now as you can see here, you have purchase here, and this purchase has a cylinder, an orange cylinder in this, and this purchase is only a table. So this is the purchase table, and this refers to this table. And this purchase with a cylinder refers to the purchase query that we have. So we can select any of them, no doubt. In this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the purchase query. And here what I will do is I will go to denominations, pull denomination in the row, and there you see all the denominations of the bonds have been put here. So you have bonds of 1,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees, then afterwards 1 lakh rupees, 10 lakh rupees, and a crore, right? Now another interesting thing that we have here is, let's pull down here, and we have denominations here, and we go to value field settings, and let's go on count. So there we are. Now we can know from the data that we have that bonds of 1,000 rupees, that is bonds of a face value of 1,000 rupees, 103 bonds were bought. Bonds having a face value of 10,000 rupees, 218 of such bonds were purchased. And going down, bonds that have a value of 1 crore rupees, 11,668 of such bonds were purchased, right? So that's about how to, a very simple, a brief discussion about how to make a pivot table. Now I end with this, and we will make more such pivot tables and do analysis on the purchasers or the donors. And that's going to be interesting. So hang on, go to the next lecture, educate yourself. Goodbye, friends. Have a great day.